Hello students. So today I am going to talk about the new topic, that is index. So you might have read about the n number of indexes for your prelims examination. But what kind of question can be asked from the index and reports? Have you ever thought about that? I know that you people are much more busy in memorizing the indexes and the report. But the question is on the analysis of these reports. So the very first thing that can be asked in the mains examination is about the significance of these indexes. Significance of these indexes. And the second thing which is very important for you to understand, that why we are talking about this particular topic, that is index and report, and for that you need to understand the context. So if you have read the newspaper, then the environmental performance index report has been released, and in this particular index the ranking of India is very low, and India is objecting to the parameters which were used in arriving at the rankings of the different countries. So in the mains examination, it is not like this, that if the newspaper is talking about the environmental performance index, you will read only about these indexes. So I just want to tell you that along with this environmental performance index, there are different indexes which India has objected and criticized its methodology. The second is Global Hunger Index. Global Hunger Index has also been criticized by India. QS University ranking has also been criticized by India. And you all know the condition of ease of doing business. The criticism has been to that extent that it has been scrubbed altogether. Then there is a criticism of Human Development Report also. So in the mains examination, two things is very important. The very first thing, that you should know that why India is objecting to the methodology, why India is objecting to the methodology of these indexes. And even after the criticism and the objection, does it hold the significance for India? So it can be asked in 10 marker question. So I just want to talk firstly about this index, and then this index, then this index, then this one, and then this one. That why India is objecting to these reports. So now I just want to talk about the environmental performance index. Environmental performance index. So India is criticizing it for the low weight attached to per capita greenhouse gas emission. Per capita greenhouse gas emission. So whenever I am talking about the mains, I am not going to talk about who releases the environmental performance index, what are the parameters on the basis of which the rankings are being issued by the organization. No. So here, whenever I am telling that the low weight attached to the per capita emission and the India is criticizing, it is because India, or even when you will see China. So China's per capita greenhouse gas emission is more than USA, and then India stood at the third position in the per capita greenhouse gas emission. But when the low weight has been attached to this particular weightage or this particular indicator, then obviously it will reduce the India's ranking. The second thing that the India is telling, that whenever you are calculating the greenhouse gas emission, then you are taking an average of 10 years. You should take the average of more than 30 years and the 50 years, because India is in the developing stage. India's industrial production is also in the developing stage. India's manufacturing sector is also in developing stage. But on the other hand, the developed economics like USA or the European countries has already achieved to its peak in the terms of industrial production. So whatever emission has been done by these countries, it should also be calculated. But whenever you are taking an average of 10 years only, then basically you are giving a leeway to these European economics and the another developed countries like US. The third one is, it is giving more weightage to the number of protected area, For example, wildlife sanctuary, for example, biodiversity areas, for example, you can say national sanctuaries. So basically, this particular index is giving more weightage to the number of protected area rather than the quality of the protected area. So India is telling that whenever you will measure the quality of the protected area, then India's ranking will increase. Along with this, India is telling that you are not accounting into India's effort towards establishing carbon sink, forest and wetland restoration. So basically, you are not taking this into account, and therefore India's ranking is low. So this is the reason for the India's criticism. So now we will see that why India is criticizing global hunger index. Why India is criticizing global hunger index. So again, I will not going to talk about that what are the different parameters on which the global hunger index is releasing its report. No. So India is criticizing global hunger report because of the undernutrition component. So basically, this is one of the indicator used by global hunger index to measure or to give rankings to the countries. And the data for this undernutrition is being collected from FAO. And if you will break down the undernourishment, then it means you are calculating stunting and wasting. Okay. So India is telling, or India is objecting to this parameter, because on these parameters India has been ranked low. So India is telling that you are giving the ranks on the basis of telephonic survey, because this FAO does not know the ground realities of India. And there is a survey, that is Gallup survey. The survey have taken you can say that the survey have made a call to the people and asked about the undernutrition. So this is highly subjective in the nature, and this India cannot accept. And also you can say that the second parameter is of calorie intake. Again, India has been ranked low on this parameter. So India is telling that the calorie intake is not always about the calorie deficiency, or is not always about the food insecurity. It is also about the intake, that the person have reduced the intake of the calorie. It may be because of the physical activity he has reduced the calorie intake. So in a diverse country like India, one size fits all in the terms of calorie intake, or you can say the parameter of calorie intake cannot be uniform for a country like India. The third objection that India is having with the global hunger index, that they are not taking into account the India's National Food Security Act, India's PDS, and India's effort to supply food grains at the time of COVID. Okay. So these are the things which you can write in your answer. Then third, I just want to talk about the QS University ranking. QS University ranking. So here I will say that if you will see the parameters of the ranking, so largely it is based on the reputation. That is, what is the reputation of employer, what is the reputation of university. Then it is focusing on, or it is giving weightage to internationalization, citations which is being published by the faculty, citation by faculty, and lastly student faculty ratio. So basically these are the parameters on which the QS University is releasing the ranks. So there is an objection that QS University ranking is focusing too much on reputation, and this reputation is based on survey, and this survey is highly subjective. And secondly, there should be more focus upon availability of books in the library. Books in library. How much faculty or profession are approachable? Campus amenities. So these are the things which should be taken care of rather than the reputation, and more weightage to be given to the reputation. So these are the criticism of the QS University ranking. You all know about the ease of doing business, that how they are manipulating the indexes and the rankings, and you know about what the China did in the ease of doing business. So these are the things, or these are the case study which you can mention in your answer. But the question will come from here, that in spite of all these objections, don't you think that these indexes and these reports have much significance also? तो ये क्वेश्चन आएगा 10 मार्कर में, अगर आया तो ओके, आई एम नो वन टू प्रिडिक्ट दैट ये क्वेश्चन आएगा, नो वन, बट ओके. So here the significance is first. The first significance that you can understand what are the best practices, in the world. For example, in the Environment Performance Index, Denmark has done extremely well. So why Denmark has done so? Because in Denmark, 47% of the electricity is coming from wind energy. 100% of recycling of water, wastewater basically, is happening in Denmark. So this is the best faculty. I will say that this is the best practices. Understand? Now, the second best practices which I just want to mention here is from Peru. In the terms of reducing nutrition. So whenever the global hunger index is giving the ranking, then you need to understand that what is the best practices in another country. Because in Peru, the entire nutrition related component was under the PM office, and international NGO was supporting the nutrition drive. The same thing is with Tanzania. Where there has been an excessive focus on community participation. So through these reports and these indexes, you will understand what is the best practices in the world. Understood? The second thing which you can mention in your answer, that comparative analysis. comparative analysis, and consecutive policy making. So here I just want to give the example of Colombia. So in Colombia, what is happening, that the Colombia have understood that we need to give ownership of land to the women. If we want a real women empowerment. And therefore, if you will see the draft land policy in India, so this draft land policy is focusing upon the ownership of the land for the women. So this comparison will help you in a better policy making. This is the second advantage of these reports and these indexes. Now, I will talk about the third advantage, that is the feedback mechanism. So basically, few years back, Human Development Index report has highlighted that MG Narega is a stellar example of rural development. So basically, you got a feedback that the Manrega is doing well as per the objectives enshrined in the Act. So it will help you in retaining its character. So no one can say in the parliament that no, Manrega, we will remove the Manrega because it has not served its purpose. Because it is giving you feedback. It is coming from Human Development Index report. Also in the second way, you can understand, for example, if your particular scheme is not working, then also you will get a feedback and you can make an improvement in your scheme. For example, you brought a particular scheme for raising the standard of living or for better health outcomes as per HDI. So HDI will say that no, this scheme which you have started keeping this in the mind is not working well because there are certain inadequacies. So it will help as a feedback for you. Then you can say evidence-based policy making. So we all know that for evidence-based policy making, the very first thing which is required is data. So the National Family Health Survey is collecting the data. You are also getting the data across the world. Then you can make a quantitative and qualitative analysis of this data, and that will help you in evidence-based policy making. The last thing which I can say, what is the significance of these indexes, is it is a kind of motivation. Okay. Why it is a kind of motivation? I am telling you why it is a kind of motivation. It is because it will give you an idea that whatever you are doing, it is really changing the life of the citizen. So it will keep the entire forces here doesn't mean armed forces. Forces here means the personnel involved in a particular department motivated so that they will work with more efficiency. So this is the significance of the indexes, and that was the objection which has been raised by the indexes. So in the conclusion, I can say only one thing. Always strive for the best across the world, and not accept which you think is objective. What is the meaning of this? Which you think is objective? It means that yes, India have every right to criticize these indexes. Why not India will criticize? Yes, but that should be based on the objectivity. It should be based on some rationale. But even after that, I will say what is happening across the world should be accepted by India, and that can be implemented in the different parts of the country for ease of living, for improving the ease of living for the people. So देखो ये सब बातें जो है ना अपने आंसर्स में आने चाहिए, ease of living, case studies, examples, so that you can fetch more marks. So this is all about this particular topic. So we will start with the second topic also. Okay.